And the drama of his life as a template for the way we live is so much the same. He came back, he gathered his disciples. He follow me, he said. And so they become, like we do, they become excited. This is it. I found something. In this case, they really had found something. But you see, that's the enthusiasm. We find something, and then we get deeper into it, and then we get friends who feel just like us. Now, in the case of the disciples, it was the right thing. But that's the process, isn't it? We get excited. We start doing all these things like this. And then it begins to develop. It gets deeper. There's challenging. What happened just before the end of Christ's life is so amazing. He'd been going everywhere. He'd started doing healings. He started doing miracles. He raised Lazarus from the dead, and a lot of people saw it. Lazarus was really dead. Really dead. There was no possibility that he wasn't dead. You know, even when there's so many, just when you get human about it and aren't too much in awe, there's so many marvelous phrases in the Bible. Jesus heard that Lazarus was sick. His sisters, Mary and Martha, called and wanted him to come, but he didn't come. He deliberately did not come because they knew he could heal him. He didn't come. He didn't come till after Lazarus was dead. He'd been, I believe, in the tomb for a few days. And then Jesus comes and Mary weeps. If you'd been here, he wouldn't have died. He says, open the tomb. And then in the tomb, then it says, sir, he's been in there for a while. He stinketh. I mean, that's so human. It's like, Lord, I'll do what you say, but this is not going to be pleasant. So they open the tomb, and Jesus calls his name, and he walks out like this. That's why they were so excited in Jerusalem. Is he going to come? Is he going to come? Because everybody knew about all of this. And then there's this triumphant entry. It couldn't have been more triumphant. The very stones will ring out, if we silence the people. And so you think, it's going to work. Now, we, the oppressed people, we're going to have our moment. The Messiah has come. Does that sound familiar? How many times have you found the solution? And it's going to work. And everybody's cheering. And you think, this is finally it. I've finally made the world do what I think it always should have been doing, which is taking care of me in the way that I think it should. And then, of course, it didn't work out that way for Jesus, did it? But he just walked through without regard for any of that. This is God's will. Even now, legions of angels could rescue me. But it is not my Father's will that that happen. So he lived through, the adulation and then the up and the down. And he did his part. He did it with power. But he was never doing that. He was doing God's will. Mother Teresa of Calcutta, in a little interview, just a snippet with a journalist that I thought was so beautiful, this journalist starts challenging her. She took care of the poorest of the poor in Calcutta, where she had her centers there, in many places in the world. And some journalist is saying, well, don't you think that, certain charities and certain government authorities can take care of more people? I mean, per capita, how many sick people do your nuns help, after all? I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it was pretty close to it. And, if you really want to help the poor, isn't there a better way to help the poor? And she said, I'm not helping the poor. The journalist was, sort of looked at her. She said, I'm doing what Jesus told me to do. You see the difference? That's how you live in this world. Whatever it is, whatever you feel to do, it's fine. But don't do it for its own sake. Do it because God told you to do it. I was working on a very big project once. The details are not important. 18 months of incredibly intense work trying to make this. We're trying to incorporate Ananda Village as a California city. I won't go into more details. It's too late. 18 months of just absolutely constant, absolute opposition by the entire county of Nevada County up there. every public hearing was in a bigger and bigger hall until finally we're with 800 people in a hearing that goes till 2 a.m, and everybody's against us, and we lost, just lost like that. But we had a case. We could appeal to the, like this, and I'm like this doing it. And then Swami decides we're not going to do it anymore. Like that. And it was, I'm just like in mid-step, and all of a sudden it stopped. He had very good reasons, persuasive reasons, but the main one was he felt it was wrong. And Swami, I believe him more than I believe myself. It was really interesting, because there I was. Why was I doing this? And I realized, I was doing it because I felt that it was divinely right to do it. So if it's not divinely right, and there's several ways to tell. You don't always have Swami to tell you. If it doesn't work and it's taken away from you, that's a clue. Sometimes it's a clue to try harder, but often it's a clue not. You have to just know, but what is my life for? And see, that's the game that this whole planet's about. We think this planet is about making this planet good. No. This planet is to teach us what causes suffering and what brings happiness, what causes fear and what alleviates fear. Yeah, in one of the songs that they sang today, to all who love the gift is given, joy and freedom evermore. Would God have planted that desire in our hearts if he didn't intend to fulfill it? But he can only fulfill it when we return to him. And that's the story of Jesus. Jesus goes through the worst that you can possibly imagine, and then just dusts himself off and says, oh yeah, so what? This is the will of my Father, and this is how the story ends. Story ends in glory. Jesus didn't just appear in that room. For 40 days, Jesus kept appearing. There was no mistake about what happened, and he wanted us to understand. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all things will be added unto you. Glorious, yes? God bless you.